They just want to turn you into a robot that you're calling a gray alien. They want us to stop procreating and get to work. Okay. So they got enough folks here, genetics, I should say, but they don't want you too savvy. So as you can see, there's an attack on your DNA now, and you got to witness it for a couple of years, and you're falling for timelines continuously with money and stepping stones, and I need things before I can get things and so forth. Hope that's a good segue.
That is. So perhaps maybe you could talk a little bit about that we are turning into, or they want us to turn into robots, but this is the ascension period. So we are not doing that, because our focus is going to be, again, all about the opportunities to bring more light into into us, into the hearts, and spreading that around. So,
yeah, it's quite obvious that all of us have this capability to go through the ascension process. And by the way, when is it going to happen is up to us exclusively. You're God, dear ones. You invented the ascension cycle. It's here to keep us. If there was a definition of time, it would look like it would look like creativity. That's what time is the rolling ocean of creativity, no matter what you desire to be.
So even though we're so caught up, with what we've just been talking about, and there is already the squeezing of the light more into where we are presently. So the other part of it is, or most of it has actually to do with our individual work with this, right? To get it over that line, from light to dark, so that the only thing we're focusing on most all the time is just of the light. So where are we on that? On that diagram, or on that horizontal line?
Hey Jane.
Yeah, yes.
Jane. How come
I know. I'm creating a timeline.
How come you didn't call me last time? Yeah.
Sorry. Here, how easy it is to get caught.
See, just like that. So our next conversation, try it right now. This is really fun. What is it you feel would be really fun for you, not anybody else? Just you. What would be really fun? If you could talk to Source right now, what would be really fun? Let's just pretend you could talk to Source right now. Mm-hmm. What would you ask Source? Please don't tell me what planet I'm from. Please don't say that.
No, I want to get off the planet. I think, and I'm not the only one saying that. Right.
Okay,
let's
talk about Ascension a little bit here.
Sure.
What was fun when I rekindled my legacy relationship. It's a very ancient relationship with Billy. She said something key to me on one of the first shows. It's difficult for me to remember these things, but I think probably one of the few shows in the beginning there. She said, if I had my choice again, and she begged and screamed at Dad to get her up here, I probably wouldn't come here. Okay. Now, there's a tremendous amount of reasons for that, and I'll let her explain it from her point of view. But for the most part, the reason you feel like you don't belong here is because you missed the last ascension cycle. So even there's a lot of places you can go to check my words in your heart, but you can do it intrinsically too. Let's see if I can find a means of measurement here in relation to ascension. Getting out of here is real simple. It's up to you. And the more you're waiting for something to happen, you're never going to get there. It's up to you, your next choice to get out of here. Okay. This planet, this is a new spirit in this planet. The spirit that was here in 2012 left because it was tuckered out with all the nuclear bombs. Now, a lot of people don't realize that I would estimate in the last 100 years, there's probably been over 2,500 different nuclear bombs let off. They will not happen again, by the way. Yet, why would we need 25 plus 100 nuclear bombs? Well, somebody's fighting somebody now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Notice there was a lot of underwater explosions. The timeline that I created a couple shows ago, we'll talk at the end, so don't let me forget, by the way. The way out of here is through you and your heart. Nothing more, nothing less. And your relationship with your planet better be true, because the spirit that's in your planet now knows exactly how to go through the ascension cycle. And that's why you're hearing me create a little more dialogue about this. Is we're getting down to the quick now. You got to make some choices. Are you going to keep doing things the way you used to? Or are you going to really, really own yourself? Are you going to really trust, have faith in yourself? You don't need a book. You need you to feel which way you want to go. And that book that you wrote is called Excitement and Passion, Purpose, Joy. I can never get tired of saying inspiration, because I know how it feels to me. And the word doesn't even begin to explain how inspired we are just by breathing. So that you don't have to overthink this. You don't have to, did I make the right step? Did Q tell me to do it this way or that? All you have to do, that's what's so beautiful about our powers. As soon as it feels right, it just feels right. And you don't need to know anything. Okay, so wait a minute, Q. It doesn't feel good to be late on my mortgage. If I keep doing it, they're going to kick me out. I go, why'd you get a mortgage in the first place? Well, I need a place to live. Here we go. Timeline circle. Here we go around the circle again. Okay. Just use your heart in the situation that you've inherited to work it out from your heart. So now we'll go to a micro timeline that contradicts timelines from our heart. Okay, so let's talk about the mortgage thing. That one's always fun. Everyone's got a mortgage or rent, at least in America. By the way, Jane, can you tell me, I got to steal one from the Andromeda guys. Let's see. Why is it that you pay rent on a planet you were born on? Can you explain that one to me?
No, but I know you could.
Okay, so what if we just all stopped? Don't all the mortgage companies go out of business? Like, period, they're gone, right?
That's true.
Well, that's why they created 50 states now, didn't they? with 500 different courtrooms and so forth. So all courts are based on the past, aren't they?
Yes.
All right, so let's do a micro timeline. And by the way, I suggest if you do get participating in a lot of timelines, I would go to the Creation Lightship webpage and do a whole lifetime timeline crash. Most of you won't need to go to that extreme if you're understanding what I'm saying. All you have to do is work on your decision-making process. It's very simple. All right, so now let's talk about the mortgage real quick. Forgive me for getting off track there a little bit. The situation we'll explain is I have to pay rent, and mortgage, and I don't have the money. I'm going to be late. I quit my job because my job wasn't heart-based. And so I hated working at the bank anyways. But anyway, so now we've quit our job. We're not going to be able to pay the mortgage. And now we're sitting there. What do? We're worried. So just the worry alone about not paying the mortgage is a timeline. That is an abduction. That is not you. That's all this conversation is about today regarding timelines. If it's greed, if it's lust, if it's anything from a past experience, reactionary emotions, something from outside yourself that you're reacting to that's processed through the brain to create emotions in your physical body, is not you. Okay? Mm-hmm. I know it's tough to figure out, okay, wait a minute. So when I'm angry, that's not me. That's correct. Because remember, before you got in this body, you did not have a brain. You did not have a memory. You had all knowledge of the entire universe. You didn't know what emotions are in a physical body until you went and experienced it. All right, let's get to the bills. All right, so now I'm going to make a choice on whether I pay the mortgage. I'm scared to call them because if the minute I call them, they're going to take the house away. All right. So what if from your heart you examine it? You just write down all the situations regarding not being able to pay the rent. Okay. Now look at I can't pay my mortgage. Make a row, one on the right side. We'll have two columns, one on the right, one on the left. Forgive me if this is redundant. On the right side, we're going to have everything we want to have happen in our life. Put them down, just 1,000. I don't care if it's, I want a jet airplane. I don't care what it is. On the left side, put everything you don't prefer in your life. And many of you have heard me say this. So now I don't want to pay the mortgage. And then the next item will be, I can't pay the mortgage. The next item is, if I don't, they're going to do this and that. And then everything on the left side of your page is the past. Okay, so now what do you want to have happen? I don't want to have to worry about this bill called the mortgage. So what if your heart says, what do I want in the future? I want no debt where I live. So in a heart-based fashion, you could now ask for help with the individuals that are actually trying to hurt you. Because it's heart-based, it will be infused into the situation. So if you're truly passionate about the next conversation you have with the mean old banker, remember, that's a perception. How do you know that there's not an angel on the other phone there? You don't know that. You actually don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if you use your heart, I guarantee you it will be expressed from source, from God. And the person who picks up that phone is going to get it. And the synchronicity occurs in a positive situation. Now, I'm not going to get into too details, but that's a good example for me that if the next decision you make, calling them, I care about them, they're just doing their job. Hey, I know I owe you some money, but I'm going to need some more time. And I love that you helped me get my house. And I love that I have a beautiful house. What can we do going forward? I just really want to pay this house. Remember, the bank was created for you too. They go out of business if you don't pay them. They know it. They need you more than you need them. So this dimension that we're in can be changed. Remember, nothing exists until you actually open the door, just by using your heart with a simple decision like that. Is that an okay start?
Well, that's a beautiful start. Yes. It's a perception, as well as, moving from feeling, the negative feelings to a more positive, positive emotion. So it's
right. And so
that's exactly what we want. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the more you do it, the more synchronicity is allowed to support you and or the universe. Right. Okay, I'll give you a little longer story that will show you how that works. I need to move. Joe needs to move, and his house needs help and support, and he needs to move because he's tired of living where he lives, but he doesn't have the house in good enough shape to get a tenant in there, but he loves the house, doesn't want to get rid of it, can't afford to live in two homes, and he's going to relocate around the world. If he could just find someone that would be willing to live in the house, work there and help him clean it up, and exchange for rent, if he could just find someone to help him do that, it would be so awesome. And guess what happens? That person shows up. And that person says, I've been looking for a house. And that person showed up because your heart was in fixing up the house. And you needed a contractor to come give you a quote for something in the home. And the contractor says, man, what are you going to do with this house? It looks like, oh, gosh, this is a beautiful house. I love this place. Yeah, I'm moving. I'm trying to get it cleaned up so it's hospitable and safe for a tenant. Well, I need a house. Well, yeah, this house isn't ready. I don't have the money to fix it up, but I got to make my mortgage. So I'm going to go work across the world and so forth, found a job. Well, why don't I rent it from you? And I'll do work concurrently to help pay for the rent. So I'll offset rent for the improvements to your house. Okay, so that's how a timeline works. Positive synchronicity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's another beautiful example. Perfect.